go In the Huddle on the Woodward Radio Network. In the Huddle is driven by Mills Fleet Farm. From Tanner Sports Grill in Kimberly, here is Justin Hall and Packers defensive back Davon House.
And good evening and welcome to a full and ruckus Tanner Sports Grill here in Kimberly. In the Huddle, talking about the NFC North champion Green Bay Packers with defensive back Davon House. 33-28 the victory yesterday over the Chicago Bears. NFC North champions, third straight year. You've been here 3 years. How does this one feel?
I'd say it feels better, especially all the ups and downs we've been through, injuries, kind of getting booed in our own stadium.
That still sits with you, huh?
It does. Then, getting Aaron back, and then the last 4 weeks, coming back victories. It's been huge. But feels good, though.
I go back to the Monday after the Detroit game, and I know you were here, and that game was so lopsided, just probably a kick to the gut almost. It seemed like that at that point. That might have been the biggest low of the season, right?
Yeah, I would have to say so, yeah.
I know that was a tough one to talk about, and as you mentioned, this last month and the run you guys been on, the wins over Atlanta and Dallas come from behind fashion, and then what happened against Pittsburgh only that night to get help from, the Bears losing to Philadelphia and having an opportunity to make that one yesterday, all about the division. But we'll get to that. We'll go a year, kind of review that regular season a little bit later on in the show. But Thursday, it was announced 12 comes back, getting back under center since breaking that collarbone against Chicago. How did you find out that he was going to be out there and making his return?
Just word in the locker room on Thursday that Aaron was back. Didn't believe it until he started taking reps with the ones during practice. So it was all smiles.
It's been a lot of talk, a lot of speculation.
Yeah.
And I know you guys, and I asked you before the show, and you said you guys really had no clue. I think there was this perception that there was some gamesmanship going on, but really it was a week-to-week thing when it came to, Aaron's return.
Yeah, it kind of my mindset was like, it was kind of like a Brett Favre type thing. Like, is he going to play this week? Is
he going to play this year for Favre? That's what it was. Is he coming back this year? Yeah.
But every week we'll see him in practice, and I would get my hopes up, like, yeah, Aaron's going to play this week. Then Friday comes along, and he's not active. But he came back. Great timing. We needed him, and as you can see, that 4th and 7 play. Speechless.
I want to get to that in a second here, and I want to make sure to mention this too. And I hope it doesn't get lost in the job that Matt Flynn did in the time filling in for Aaron, because a couple of those comeback victories. You guys didn't run away with the division, but Matt did just enough to keep you guys in a spot where when Aaron came back, you can go out there and make the playoffs. That's the job of a backup quarterback, and I think Matt did that, superbly.
Yeah, he did an excellent job, especially to the games that we won or the games that we tied or whatnot. We were down, and to come back second half, and the performances that he put in the second half was mind-boggling. And he did a great job, and I'm glad he's on our team.
Well, back and forth game like yesterday was, how do you stay focused through the turns? Because it was score. So it's, the dynamic of the game, it changed so much there in that second half. How do you stay focused on not letting, it get out of your hands, I guess?
The way I looked at it was, especially going into the fourth quarter, was we've been down before. The last couple of weeks we've been down. So just stay positive. We got Aaron back, Cobb back. They're gonna continue to make plays. Just whenever my name's called, just do my job, and we'll pull a win at the end of the day.
A few plays I want to mention. The Boykin fumble recovery for a touchdown. You recall what you were – were you watching that play at that time? Were you focused on it? Did you realize what was going on, or were you just as confused as the announcers and I think the referees seemed to be on that play as well?
No. We preach every day in practice. Whenever the ball's on the ground, pick it up. It's mostly for the defensive guys. Whenever the ball's on the ground, even on the incomplete passes, the defense guys are running to the ball and scooping into scoring on during practice. And it's crazy because Boykin's really one of the guys that emphasized it the most on the offensive side of picking the ball up, and he was the guy to pick it up and kind of looked confused and ended up walking in the end zone. I'm just glad he did it.
Yeah, and Aaron walked over there so nonchalant, just kind of like, okay, go now, because nobody's watching you. As a defensive guy, you don't want to be Lance Briggs, who, he's in that video and will forever be in that video, just watching Boykin run past him for that touchdown.
Yeah. I don't think that would ever happen to us on the defense side because we preach the running to the ball, even if it's on the ground. 4th
and 1 play to Jordy. That was the one that completed near, midfield. Are you one of the can't watch guys? Or are you up there on the sideline, watching as get to the 4th and 7 play in a second? But 4th and 1, that was the first of the 2. Your season is on the line here on the plays. What are you doing as a defensive guy, on the sidelines?
Usually on 1st, 2nd, and 3rd down. Really 1st and 2nd, I'm sitting down on the bench watching Aaron work. 3rd down, I'll stand up because I gotta get ready for punt just in case they punt. So I'll be there watching.
So what was the reaction on the sideline like when Aaron's scrambling out of the pocket, gets the big block from John Kuhn, who he mentioned numerous times and everybody brought up as the key on that play, and then seeing 18 out there with nobody near him able to run in and send you guys to the NFC playoffs here?
Well, I thought Peppers had him for sure. I seen that he missed. I was like, whatever happens, just as long as he don't get sacked, give us a chance of catching the ball. And I seen him throw it, and I looked down the field. I saw Jordy on the floor. I was like, why is he throwing it to Jordy? Jordy's down. Then I see Randall wide open, and he caught it. I was like, just catch the ball, Randall, and fall in the end zone. That's what he did, and we scored.
I know I talked to one of our members in attendance here, and he was at the game yesterday and said the sideline eruption was like nothing he's seen from a celebration from you guys jumping around and hugging each other.
Yeah, I wish I could see the overview. I ran on the field, chased Aaron for like 10 yards, and I started chasing some of our old linemen. Just started chasing everyone, screaming.
Well, I know at that moment, still 40 seconds left in the game, so you guys go up, miss the 2-point conversion, 33-28 was the score. Hester gets the nice return, and still a couple more plays to be made, and we'll get to those in a second here. We'll meet our guest as well as we continue on. We are live here from Tanner Sports Grill in Kimberly, talking 2013 NFC North champion Green Bay Packers, 5th straight trip to the postseason. That's tied for the longest active streak in the NFL. More coming up here from Tanner's on the Woodward Radio Network. And we are back at Tanner Sports Grill in Kimberly in the Huddle on the Woodward Radio Network. Hanging out tonight with Packers defensive back Davon House. We'll meet our guest Antonio Dennard in a second. Let's get to our Compass Land Consultant injury report. Compass Land Consultant, a full real estate consulting business. They specialize in the sale of vacant land. That includes hunting property. Whatever you're looking for, small lot on the water, hundreds of acres, to hunt that bruising Bruin or trophy whitetail, Compass Land has the experts to help you out. Give them a call today, 800-548-6933, or check them out on the web at clclands.com. And kind of shortening up the injury report, which is definitely a good thing, Davon, as a lot of players come back. But we mentioned Aaron Rodgers returning from the broken collarbone and helping out yesterday with that 33-28 victory over the Bears. Randall Cobb, too, returning since breaking his leg back in Week 6. I know we've talked a lot about Rodgers coming back, but Cobb returning, too. He had to be real excited to get back out there.
Yeah, he makes a big difference. As you can see, he had 2 catches for 2 touchdowns, so which is 42 points, which is always good. He changes the game, and especially with Aaron throwing him the ball.
Well, Clay Matthews, some bad news on the injury front. Surgery on that thumb. It looks like he's going to be lost for the playoff run with you guys. But you played without Clay earlier this year and had some success. So, that's got to be – you'd love to have him out there, but encouraging, looking back at that.
Yeah, it is. The young guys stepped up. Mike Neal stepped up and took over the leadership role in that position. And I think, as you can see, I think Andy Malumba had a sack in the game. So I think the young guys are coming along pretty well.
And one other note, too, Jamal Roll, we had him on a few weeks back from the practice squad, activated last week to the 53-man roster. So happy to see Jamal get an opportunity. Well, Davon, how about you introduce our guest for tonight?
We have Antonio Dennard from Langston University.
Yes. Number 35, defensive back, Langston University, an NAIA school.
Yes.
I think that kind of throws people off. Do you want to tell us a little bit about Langston University?
Yes, it's a HBCU. It's a small school out in Oklahoma. And, yeah, I went there 4 years. And, yeah.
And you got a little high. I know you got that big shiny ring on your finger you got when you were down there, right?
Yeah, we won 3 conference championships. I've been there. This is just one of the rings. Show photo.
I think they can see that one from the back of the room with how shiny it is. So it's Thomas Hollywood Henderson, former Dallas Cowboy, one of the players to play. There are a few guys from Langston that have made it to the NFL over the years, right?
Yes. And unfortunately, those guys, I never got to meet, Hollywood Henderson.
Yeah.
And he never came back to the school when I was there. But, yeah, we have, guys like him that went there. Myself, it's not too many, though.
Yeah, just a handful. I was looking through the history there. Packers signed you to the practice squad on December 3rd. Before that, time in Jacksonville and New York. I got to add the timing of coming into Green Bay, because you came in at a time where, like I think we talked about with Davon after the Detroit game, so it was kind of a weird time, maybe a downtime, maybe the low point of the season. What was your first impression coming in and just kind of, gathering everything for the Packers, where they were, and trying to help out how you can?
Well, I just wanted to, first off, thank God for giving me another opportunity. And it's a blessing, to have the job that I have and getting a chance to come back and do it again with a great organization like Green Bay. So I was definitely motivated to come here, and, help them win like we're doing.
When did you realize Green Bay was interested? Because, going back to coming into the league after 2012, in the league last year, second year, in the league. But when did you have initial conversations? When did you realize, that Green Bay was looking at you?
Well, they actually offered me to come here right after the draft of last year. And, I made, a decision of going to Jacksonville. And then another opportunity to come after I left Jacksonville to come here, but I went to New York. And that didn't work out, so I think it was meant for me to actually come to Green Bay. 3 times make a charm, they say.
And that's got to be something, too, about Green Bay still wanting you to come here. They saw something in you. They wanted you to be a part of this organization and help things out. That's got to be an encouraging thing.
Yes, it is.
Give us the scouting report on Antonio Davon. You see him every day in practice.
Yeah. Antonio, scouting report on field-wise. Antonio, he's a smart player. Not the biggest, as you can see, but Antonio's very quick, who can run, and who can play the ball really well, too, as well. Don't know about tackling yet, since we don't tackle during practice, but you can tell he's a quick learner.
How is that like, not being able to tackle in practice, so you can't show that, physicality side of things for you?
It kind of helps you to, finesse your game, play under control. That's the difference in, coming in from college to playing professional. You learn how to practice like a pro, and then you just got to go do it in the game,
I want to flip the table on you. What's the scouting report on Davon here? Curious to this guy we've seen here throughout the season on Monday nights. Give us the scouting report on him.
Well, Davon, he's a great guy. I think he's a very humble guy, and I pay attention to what he do. I ask him questions, because he played. He had 3 years of experience, and he's a great player, humble player. He's after the same thing I'm after. So I'm getting to learn from one of the best out of New Mexico State.
You mentioned
about that. That's out of New Mexico State.
You mentioned that too, in learning and absorbing from the guys around, and I mean that's got to be the big thing. And for you too, seeing guys. I mentioned Jamal Roll got the call out of the practice squad. Tremon's one of those guys. And we've talked about it throughout the year, Davon. In Green Bay, they give their own the chances. I mean that's got to be a big thing, a big boost, a big motivator for you, Antonio. But seeing those guys and seeing those guys have that opportunity.
Oh yeah, of course, it's definitely a motivation. Tremon, I look at him. He came from starting from practice squad into coming, Green Bay picked him up kind of like my situation, so that was motivation for me, seeing that a guy, you know, to be where he is now and coming from where he came from, you know.
And looking at the entire defensive backfield as it sits, I mean, 4th-round pick, not a high pick, not a first couple day guy. Tremont was a practice squad guy. Sam was an undrafted free agent. Charlie, who's the highest drafted guy out of you defensive guy? Is it Morgan as a 3rd-rounder?
Nope.
Casey, second
round. Yep. Everyone else is 4th or 4th. Micah's a 5th or 6th, I think.
Yeah, he was 5th round last year.
Everyone else is free agent. It's crazy.
That's amazing too. I mean, just the eye that the Packers have for, you know, talent out of the non-highly drafted guys, the guys that usually get a lot of the headlines there. But kind of into your weekly role too, you know, film study, meetings, and all that. As a practice squad guy, you right there in the room, everything work. You know, just like that, you're working to the side of these guys.
Yes, everything the same. You know, for a practice squad guy, only difference is you don't play Sundays. Yeah. So I do everything that Davon does as far as week-wise goes.
And more.
Yeah.
You're doing all the offensive stuff too as well. So
exactly.
Yeah, that's a lot.
You come in the middle of the season. So what was your time like between you were let go by the Giants, I think, before the offseason, right?
Yes.
So what was time like, you know, working out and trying to stay motivated and trying to keep your head up? What were you doing in that time before Green Bay came calling?
I was actually rehabbing my foot. That's why I left New York, because I injured my foot. And I spent that time rehabbing and, you know, getting my mind right, film studying, and spending a little extra time with my dad because he played in the NFL as well. So getting to learn from, you know, him, and, you know, it helped me mature and, you know, look at my situation like I'm blessed, you know, ain't too many guys get the opportunity to play in the NFL.
Your dad is?
Johnny Harris.
Johnny Harris,
he played with Oakland for 3 years and New York for 2.
So having, you know, that to fall back on, I mean, that's got to be nice to have somebody that's been through it, going through the things that you have right there, you know, somebody that you're close to, right?
Exactly.
What was the best piece of advice he's given you here? Go ahead, yeah.
Who?
Best piece, your dad. Your best piece of advice your dad's given you here.
You know, without struggle, there's no progress. We got that quote from Frederick Douglass.
Yeah, that's great. Antonio Dennard, our guest. We got Davon House. We're going to bring it back more with the guys. We'll go back and take a look at 2013, the NFC North champion Green Bay Packers here on the Woodward Radio Network. In the Huddle returns on the Woodward Radio Network, live from Tanner Sports Grill in Kimberly. 2013 NFC North champion, playoff-bound Green Bay Packers, Davon House and Antonio Dennard with us. They were brought here tonight thanks to L&S Classic Limousine. Lenny, good to see you as always, sporting his green tie in the Packer spirit. Lenny doesn't seem too excited tonight, so we'll get right back to it. 2013 year in review, I thought it'd be a good time to, you know, with the regular season in the books, kind of go back and take a look at things and how they played out. And I'll start with this, Davon. A lot of great moments, a lot of great memories. What is your favorite moment right now looking back on 2013?
I have to say Cleveland game.
Interception?
Yeah, interception. I had a good game that game. We did a really good job defensive-wise stopping one of the – actually, I believe he's a leading receiver.
Josh Gordon.
Yeah, we did a good job stopping him that game, and we won that game.
It's amazing. He didn't play, I think, the first 2 games he missed, and just to throw the fantasy numbers out there, ended up statistically the best wide receiver this year, playing only 14 games. It's unbelievable what he was able to do.
Yeah, he's going to be really good, really good.
How about you, Antonio? I know you've been here just, you know, about a month, but what kind of stands out to you being a part of this team and a part of this, I'll call it a magical run here in December where everything's falling into place for you guys?
You know, I think the hunger to win, you know, you can see it on everybody's faces how, you know how you come to an organization where you got to win pretty much, and, you know, that motivates you to, you know, put your game face on during practice, you know, just to stay on top of your game.
I know you spent time in Jacksonville too, and I don't want to pick on Jacksonville being, a franchise that hasn't won a lot, but it's a fact they haven't. Mm-hmm. Is that one of the biggest differences you saw coming into a locker room where winning is the expectation and, is mandatory versus Jacksonville where, they haven't had the success?
Well, most definitely, yeah. It's a difference because, Jacksonville, when I was there, we only won 2 games and, we didn't win much at all. So then coming here is definitely a change, and it teaches you how to practice to win, actually win on Sundays. We were so close in Jacksonville, but it's we didn't. But here, yeah, like how we finished against Chicago, Sunday, and that's how you do it.
Yeah, a matter of getting over the hump and picking up those W's. Looking back, Davon, and at the time you played them, okay, because I know things are different right now heading into the postseason, but who's the best team that you think you guys played this year?
Played against?
Played against. Best team you guys played.
On the defensive side or just in general?
We'll go in general.
All right, general. I'll have to say, San Fran. I'll have to say San Fran. If not San Fran, I would say Detroit or New York.
Detroit's interesting because everything they went through, at the end of the year they had the collapse and whatnot, and I think, they've become one of the jokes of the NFL. Obviously, Jim Schwartz, their head coach, was fired today, but when you say that, it's one of those teams where you see just how good I think potentially they can be, right?
Yeah, they can be really dangerous. You look at every position that they have. You can name a superstar in every position. They got talent, especially with them getting in Reggie Bush. They just fell short a couple of games.
Antonio, how much following the NFL did you do while you were rehabbing and trying to work yourself back in? Were you following game by game, keeping tabs on team, or just kind of observing overall each weekend, what was going on, seeing who were the top teams and what have you?
Yeah, I definitely kept an eye on the teams that was interested in me, and I paid attention to, those guys and how they run their scheme on defense and, how they players and how they corners and stuff play. I did pay attention to those things.
And Green Bay, one of those teams you were keeping tabs on, I'm sure?
Yeah, most definitely, yep.
Making sure you saw it happen, but we'll kind of go the timeline here, Davon. Go back to the beginning of the season. We mentioned you play San Francisco. You're getting ready for San Francisco. And go back a little bit further there. Press rewind a little more. What was, I guess, the expectation heading into the season? What were you guys thinking? What was the feeling embarking in on this 2013 journey?
Really was to win the division. One of our goals was kind of not to lose at home was one of our goals. And win our division and try to get home field advantage.
That's kind of the feeling too. You guys were set up, had the team to do that. That was kind of, when I say the goals, but those were kind of the expectations, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, season started. You guys went to San Francisco. You dropped that one. Came back, Washington beat them, and then Cincinnati, one that I know you let slip away before the bye. 1-2, you had the Week 4 bye. Can you recall maybe the mindset there, the feeling heading into an early bye and facing the games that you did and where you guys were sitting?
During that time, it was just felt good to get away from football, even though it was early. At the time we were 1-2, right?
Yeah, 1-2 at the bye. Yep.
And we let one go against Cincinnati. Tough loss against San Fran too. So it felt good to walk away for a little bit. So it was much needed.
Well, you came back. Detroit, Baltimore, Cleveland, and Minnesota out of the byes, and that Minnesota Sunday night game was such a impressive game to watch. I think about as complete of a game as you guys played. All wins. You're sitting there 5-2 and kind of looking, I guess, at the regular season outside of where you were yesterday. Kind of the high point was kind of when you were playing maybe your best football in the first 16 weeks, right?
Yeah, I agree, especially that Minnesota game.
Yeah, that was one that stood out. You remember seeing the Minnesota game, watching that one on Sunday night?
Yes. It was crazy, man.
Yeah, the return for a touchdown, and then you guys just put the onslaught on the Vikings. Then it was the Chicago game. Aaron goes down, and tough one here. Tough question, kind of digging. You guys look back, everybody stayed confident, everybody stayed motivated, on the surface, but maybe looking back deep down, was that a bigger blow than you guys anticipated?
No one anticipates Aaron to get hurt or any of our players get hurt. Do we know it's possible? Yes, it's possible. Aaron got hurt, I believe Super Bowl year. He had a concussion, correct?
Got a concussion, yep.
He got a concussion Super Bowl year, but he was only out for 2 weeks then. We figured, Aaron will be out maybe 4 weeks, hopefully 5 at the most. Then we'll get him back then. And hopefully we can pull out some of those games, during that 4 or 5 weeks. I don't know what record we win or whatnot during that time. And then we get Aaron back, we get Kyle back, and, win a couple more games for playoffs so we get some momentum. That was my mindset during that time. Yeah,
we kind of talked about Detroit and after that one, but then you had the back-to-back wins against Atlanta and Dallas. Dallas was the big one. I'll ask you this, Antonio. Did you kind of see I don't want to call it the confidence, might not be the right word back, but did you see a little bit of spark? Did you see the team maybe gaining that momentum, seeing it come back to them?
Yes, I did, man, because, the preparation we have in practice and stuff, and the way we prepare ourselves, I definitely see it, like, practice how you play.
How big is momentum in this game? How big is having the ball rolling in your way? Because, you're looking at it, you had the hiccup against Pittsburgh, but outside of that, you're a team that's won 3 out of 4 games, and momentum-wise puts you right up there with anybody else in the NFC.
I would say it's huge, but last year, Baltimore, I don't think they won a game in December.
4-5 in December last year.
They won 4?
They lost. I'm sorry, they lost 4 out of 5 games. They were 1-4.
Yeah. So and they ended up winning the Super Bowl. But I still say momentum's big. I feel like the ball's rolling on our side right now, and I feel like the only team that can beat us is us right now.
And that's the way you got to be. That's, I guess, the mentality you need to have going into a postseason like this, especially in today's NFL, where you were part of the 15-1 team that didn't win 1 playoff game. You guys 8-7-1 now. Who's to say you can't win 3-4 playoff games, right?
Exactly.
Well, we'll talk more about that coming up. We'll get some questions as well from the audience. Our Facebook and Twitter questions coming in, and we'll dive into the postseason, take a look at some of the matchups, and talk about the San Francisco 49ers. Hanging out with Davon House and Antonio Dennard tonight, live from Tanner Sports Grill in Kimberly. It's In the Huddle on the Woodward Radio Network. And back at Tanner's in Kimberly, In the Huddle rolling on the Woodward Radio Network. Davon House and Antonio Dennard with us as we get ready for our Brew Pub Lots of Matzo Pizza social media segment. New Year's Eve, good time to head to your local grocer, pick up one of those Lots of Matzo pizzas for the ball drop tomorrow night. Half pound of Wisconsin mozzarella cheese. I can't get one of these weeks. I'm going to get through that one. We got the premium meats, the veggies as well, and again, half pound of Wisconsin mozzarella cheese. You can like them on Facebook and get your mozzarella pizza at your local grocer. So I'm just struggling through that one today. It's a Monday. We are back here with Antonio and Davon, and time to get to some of the questions here that we got coming in. You can like our Twitter handle at In the Huddle Show, also on Facebook, facebook.com/In the Huddle Show. First question, this one's coming in from Gary in Milwaukee, the Big 920 WOKY. You got a good Christmas present yesterday, but did you get something underneath the tree here this year that you really enjoy? I know, Davon, we talked about it, not a big gift guy, but anything come about at all?
Nope. Bought the baby some shoes, some clothes. No gifts for us.
How about you, Antonio?
I didn't get anything for Christmas.
He's the Grinch.
I think I get my gifts when I go back home.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got Christmas planned once the season's over, sometime in February, right?
Right.
Exactly. So, all right, next question. This one's coming in from Ed in Wapaka. How important was it to have Christmas Day off? And I think it's a great question because, that's something that Coach McCarthy emphasizes is making sure you do get time at home with your families and spending that. So how big was it to have that day off, even though it was a Wednesday and a work week and a week where, your season was on the line?
It was big. It was relaxing. You got to lounge around the house and really enjoy Christmas with your loved ones.
How about you, Antonio?
I actually just stayed at a hotel this year, so I ain't do anything. But it's definitely a blessing to, know that Coach take that into, great consideration.
Yeah, kind of the philosophy of the organization. I'm about great character guys as well, and, making sure, like you mentioned, you guys do get an opportunity to spend Christmas with those you want to. Next question, this one's from Steve on Facebook. It's for you, Antonio. Did you know Davon Harris, and did you reach out to him when coming to Green Bay?
Yes, I did. Yes, we played together in Jacksonville, and he was one of the first guys I talked to when I got here, when I walked into the locker room. Yeah, so we definitely chopped it up, and we hang out and stuff.
Was it comforting to have somebody, I don't want to say an ally in the locker room because you guys are all on the same page, but, somebody there that you felt comfortable going to, talking to, and help you with the transition?
That always makes it a lot easier, you have somebody that you already know before coming into a new, position and, everything is new to you.
What was the best piece of advice he gave you? Bring some warm clothes?
Yeah. Stay hungry, because this position was similar to mine as well. Last year he had to work out with a lot of teams after being cut from Jacksonville. And he came here just like me, so he said, stay hungry.
And worked out for you as well, having your opportunity here. We'll get our next question. This one's from Jim in Appleton. Davon, who is the biggest trash-talking wide receiver you faced this year?
Well, I haven't faced Cardell Patterson.
Really?
Yeah.
For a rookie that didn't do anything.
We'll talk about him next year.
We'll talk about him.
But we played against Philly. I didn't get to guard Deshaun, but Deshaun was talking a lot. But that's part of Deshaun's game. So it was entertaining.
Do you practice your trash talking at all? I mean, you got to keep up on it in practice or something. So when you're out on the field, you can stay up with it.
I talk a lot of trash to Jordy whenever I'm guarding Jordy, but it's all love though.
Guys hug after practice, right? You hug it out, right? All right. Next question. This one's coming from Mark on Facebook. Did you get a chance to see the Wisconsin Badger celebration of the Cobb catch?
Yeah, I loved it. Yeah, it was funny. Hilarious. You haven't seen it? Nah. You need to Google it.
The Badgers are down in, I think, Orlando for the Capital One Bowl, and they all got together and watched the game. And somebody from the team was taping their reaction. They're watching it, and it's Wisconsin team, so they're all Packer fans, except Vontae Jackson was in a Matt Forte jersey, a Bear jersey. So as soon as you could tell the moment Cobb caught the ball, because everybody's just jumping out of their shoes, and then there's the lone Bear fan on the just pacing back and forth, looking for some sympathy, and there was none to be had.
It was hilarious.
It's all over Twitter. It's everywhere. I'm sure you can find it a little bit later on, but definitely one to take a peek at. Next question. This one's coming from Terry in La Crosse. What do you miss most about the college game that the NFL doesn't have? Tough one, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I got to actually think about that.
I say for as defensive players, you get a lot of freedom of being handsy as a cornerback.
You're allowed to play defense, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
They take that away. I don't know why in the professional, but yeah.
That's got to be one of the tough things too. Davon, I want to make sure I get to this as well. We were talking about that play, the second to last play. You were in there in the pass breakup to Jeffrey.
Yeah.
Can you kind of remember? I know what happened on that play is your favorite question. We talked about that earlier this year, but.
Yeah, just I figured they're gonna come my way because they throw it to him deep all the time. Ball was in the air, just trying to play the ball and make sure he doesn't catch it.
Yeah, it was a great play. I remember seeing that yesterday, and helped you guys to that 33-28 victory. We got Davon House, Antonio Dennard with us. One more segment to go in the huddle, live from Tanners and Kimberly on the Woodward Radio Network. And coming back to Tanner Sports Grill in Kimberly one final time in the huddle on the Woodward Radio Network. Davon House and Antonio Dennard with us. Justin All here. Antonio, you just got to look at the Badger video at the break. What'd you think?
Pretty funny.
Not like to be Vontae Jackson, the one Bear fan in that room here. So we'll get to the wild card matchup in a second. Black Monday in the NFL when all the coaches get fired. Jim Schwartz and Leslie Frazier, couple of coaches. I don't know why all you are groaning about Jim Schwartz. Yeah, exactly. Don't you want him to stay there and help out? You don't want Detroit to get a head coach that knows what he's doing over there. So I can say that now that he's gone. But Lovie Smith, yeah, Greg Schiano out in Tampa, Mike Shanahan in Washington, and Rob Chudzinski in Cleveland. Gary Kubiak in Houston earlier this year. 6 teams looking for head coaches, I guess from the other side as players, and we've talked about that. I mean, it's a year-to-year, league for you guys, but for the coaches as well, I mean, how quickly things can change for teams.
Yeah. The way I look at it, winning sells everything. When your team wins, everything's going to be good, but as soon as your team starts losing, you got to point the finger at someone.
Got to be nice playing for Coach McCarthy, third longest tenured coach in the league. Only Marvin Lewis is Cincinnati, which is still weird to me. It doesn't seem like he's been there. And then Belichick in New England have been there longer. But, I mean, it's nice going in to practice every day knowing that the guy with the whistle is one of the great coaches right now in the league.
Yeah, that's why when I came to Green Bay, I said really good thing about me coming to Green Bay is that, of course, our defense is good, but we have Aaron Rodgers, so we should be good for a while. And our coaches are not going nowhere, no time, no soon. So hopefully that goes the same with me.
How about Coach Witt, right? Position coach?
Yeah.
What's it like working with him, Antonio?
It's very cool. He's a young coach. He's cool, so he's like, real cool. It's kind of different from me being with a young coach, and I'm learning a lot from him, and I'm learning a lot from the players. So it's like all of us is the same, and I take it like it is what it is.
And you always see that too with coaching staffs when guys are moving. It's good. I know Coach Philbin is now in Miami, who was with you guys a couple of years ago as well. I know Dom a few years ago interviewed out in Denver, and some of the other names that have been tossed around as well.
Dom Capers did?
I don't know if he interviewed or he was talked about in Denver, the Super Bowl.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was one of the. It might have been before you got there.
Okay.
Yeah. Division championship celebration. I'm sure it's been a fun 24 hours from you guys, but how quickly was it back to work mindset? Back to, all right, got to the postseason. Now we got to get focused on that next job, that next task at hand, which is the 49ers.
Probably would say as soon as the plane landed. Coach said, see you guys either tomorrow or Tuesday, and make sure you get in your playbook early.
So what can you take from that first game? Is there anything? Or was that so long ago when everything has changed, not just for you guys, but for them? It's kind of hard to, go back and look.
Yeah. I mean, I know for sure I can, and just speaking for the defense, just when really don't let one guy take over the game. That's the way I look at it. Anquan Bolden had probably one of his best games he had in a long time. I think we had over 200 yards receiving. So the way I look at it, don't let one man beat you. If it's Kaepernick or if it's Vernon Davis or Frank Gore, whoever it is, don't let that one man beat you guys. Play good Packer defense, which should be good.
You see any of them throughout the course of the season?
Have I watched them?
Yeah, have you watched the 49ers at all? Yeah.
Really, because they played a lot of primetime games. Whenever they're really on primetime, I always took a peek, and looked at their numbers and whatnot. Each and every week they played.
Other NFC matchup, wild card weekend, New Orleans and Philadelphia. I know you guys saw New Orleans. Antonio, you get an opportunity to see either of those teams. Anything stand out to you on them?
Yeah, I watched the game last night, the Philly and Dallas game, and All the games are close games, and they're coming down to the wire. And I think we're seeing great football right now.
It's amazing how many games are actually close, and I think come playoff time you see a little bit more of that. Davon, I flat out ask this, all right? Do you guys want Seattle?
Yeah.
Looking back at last year and every time we've talked about the Seahawks, just the reaction that you gave me, I just kind of get that sense that that's one team that you guys would love to go to their place and get a little bit of revenge for, last year, right?
I mean, I think we'd rather play in Lambeau than Seattle. Hands down, Seattle's the best team in the league right now, going off their record, and they play really good defense, and Russell Wilson keeps them in the game and finds ways to get it done. They're a really good team.
AFC matchup, Cincinnati and San Diego, and then it's Kansas City and Indianapolis. Award-wise, Eddie Lacy. Got to be Rookie of the Year, right?
Hands down.
And were you shocked with no Pro Bowl bids for the Green Bay Packers this year?
Yes, I was. But I think we'll probably be the first team to win Super Bowl and not have no Pro Bowls in a while. So I look at it.
I think since the merger, it was the 2010 Seahawks, the only team that made the postseason without it. So go make some history. None of you guys will be taking there anyway, right? It's the week before the Super Bowl. So,
yeah, exactly.
Antonio, appreciate you coming out. All the best to you, and we'll see you down the road, okay?
Thanks for having me.
Davon, let's do it again in 2 weeks, okay?
Sound good.
All right, Davon House, Antonio Dennard. We've been in the huddle here from Tanner Sports Grill in Kimberly, brought to you by Mills Fleet Farm on the Woodward Radio Network.